Hello and welcome to a humble Highland home. Thank you so much for joining me here at the croft today. It feels like springtime here today in the Highlands, but we're still getting lots of frosts and frosty nights and mornings, and because of where we are, these can last until mid to late morning, so there's not a lot growing at the moment. I normally prefer to plant any rhubarb in autumn time, but I couldn't resist buying these two rhubarb champagne crowns the last time I was in town. These are an early variety which I'm going to experiment with over the next couple of years. But for today, I'm spending some time tidying and weeding around the edge of the growing beds to try and get a good start when I plant the beds up, once of course the frost has passed, which should be around mid-May. And although there's not a lot growing at the moment, the weeds are starting to take root and show themselves once again. Some weeds can have a really bad reputation and put the dread into many farmers and gardeners, but my foraging diary starts today, just using what I have available to me here in the garden. And today, whilst I'm weeding, one weed that lies dormant for a short while over winter time is the notorious couch grass. Couch grass has also got many different names, but I know it as couch grass or dog grass. Couch grass has a very well earned reputation of being an invasive and very troublesome perennial grass that grows almost anywhere in the cooler climates. Couch grass has the ability to establish itself and spread with relative ease due to its fast-growing rhizomes, which it will grow in plentiful supply of in its lifetime. Although couch grass can send a shiver down any gardener's spine, we could look at it a different way, as couch grass is edible and has many medicinal properties. Please note when consuming anything that you have foraged to be absolutely sure of your plant identification, the uses and the preparation methods, and please consult your medical practitioner if you're unsure, and especially if you're pregnant or nursing a small child. And of course, always forage responsibly. Once you know what you're looking for, couch grass stands out pretty easily. But for the common couch grass, it has green, fat, bladed-like leaves with long, thin flower spikes with tiny spikelets that appear at the end of the stems. But that's once it's fully grown, and it can grow over 1 metre in height. But it's the roots and the rhizomes that I'm looking for, and I'll be harvesting these throughout the growing season up until late summertime. Plants here are still quite small, but I want to take them out of the places that I don't want them growing before they really take off. But as I said, this is an all year round job, little and often. Even when I'm not harvesting couch grass, the only way that I've found to manage it is to loosen the soil around the roots and try to work along the length of the rhizomes. If you're using a spade or a sharp garden tool, this can just break the rhizome and the process starts all over again, as each tiny piece is enough to produce a new plant. Now, I do prefer weeding in drier conditions, but we've had so much rain and snow recently that these are the conditions I've been given, so this is what I'll work with. It's handy having the burn here that I can just rinse off any mud that's sticking to the roots of the rhizomes. And given we do have lots of mud, this might take a while, but in my opinion, this is a valuable investment of my time. Now, many weed species are edible and have medicinal properties, but not all do. Some can be dangerous to your health, so please do your own research first. But there's no need to spray nasty pesticides on these incredible plants when they could be a welcome addition to your pantry or to your medicinal toolkit. As part of my weed management, I like to learn about the plants and the environments they like and what it dislikes. So if it's growing where I would prefer it didn't, I would work around its environment so it wasn't as keen to grow there anymore. For example, with this couch grass, I don't want it growing in the pathways or in my growing spaces, so I make sure when I remove the roots, I remove all the rhizomes at the same time. This is a little book that I've referred to on many occasions. This is the Book of Weeds and How to Deal with Plants That Behave Badly, and it's written by Ken Thompson. Now in this book it doesn't always mention what's edible and what's medicinal, but it does highlight different ways of being able to manage the weeds in your gardens. And in this picture it shows beautifully what couch grass looks like once it's a little bit further on in its growing cycle. I like to have a select library of books that I can refer to instead of always just relying on the internet. I could use some roots or rhizomes fresh in a tea, but I like to store some and have some readily available in my pantry for when I need them. So to do that, I'm going to cut off all the green leaves and separate them from the roots and the rhizomes. And as I'm doing that, I continue just picking out any debris that's been holding on. I know that there are many medicinal benefits to using couch grass roots, but my understanding and for what I use them for is for bladder and kidney health and for treatment of any urinary tract infections. These green leaves are still quite small, but if left to grow bigger later on in the season, the long green leaves could be juiced into a dark green juice, just like the wild wheatgrass juice. I don't have a juicer yet, so I haven't tried it, but I wouldn't eat the leaves directly. I don't think they would be too easy digested, so I would stick to juicing them. Other people may have tried them in a different way, but I have digestive issues due to the autoimmune disease that I have, so I'm very careful with what I consume. I like to try and work with nature's medicinal cabinet first, before using prescribed medications, but sometimes we have to work hand in hand. But if in doubt, don't consume it, or at least check first. Dogs and cats will naturally seek out couch grass in aid of its own health and well-being. And this is why another name for couch grass is dog grass. And I have read that the roots and rhizomes of couch grass can also be ground into a flour and was once used in times of scarcity as an addition to bread flour to make it go further. To protect and preserve the nutritional benefits of the roots and the rhizomes, I'm drying them on the lowest setting of our dehydrator to store for tea. Couchgrass root can have a diuretic effect, but that teamed with some parsley can make a very nutritional kidney and bladder nurturing tea, and can be used as a preventative drink occasionally or part of a treatment plan with lots of water to flush out any unwanted bacteria. A very handy root tea to have in your medicinal pantry. Now last year, due to time restrictions and life, I didn't forage for as many items as I normally would do. So this year I have a few jars that need to be refilled in the pantry with natural and free produce from Mother Nature's larder. Now that the couchgrass roots and rhizomes are completely dry, I'm going to store them in an airtight glass jar, and I'm going to make a welcome cup of tea. So thank you so much for being with me here today as I start my foraging year. I hope this video has been useful to you. Please let me know in the comments below. But until next time, take care of yourself and others, and I'll see you in the next video.